broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey, come with me. We're talking Better Call Saul here at AFTERBUZZ TV. On the wind with my fantastic panel. Guys, I'm your host, Zach Wilson, here to talk Better Call Saul, episode 206, Bali Ha'i. You can tweet me throughout the week, throughout the show at that Zach Wilson. Make sure that you're subscribed to AFTERBUZZ TV. On YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, all different places. Hit us with a review and a rating. You got a shout out. Let me introduce my fantastic panel, who's going to come away with me on a fantastic adventure of breaking down an episode of television. Kevin Ellis is right next to me.
Hey guys, I'm Kevin Ellis. You can find me on Twitter at @TheKevinEllis or on Instagram at KevinEllis25.
And hey guys, I'm Lacretia Lyon, and if you can spell it right, it's LACRETIALYON. Find me anywhere on the internet, since there's only one.
Hey guys, I'm Stephen Lemieux. I'm back this week after a week off. Sorry about that. And you can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, STPHENLEMIUX.
Hey man, when you're under the weather, you know what you got to do. You got to file a class action lawsuit against whatever made you sick.
I did.
Yeah.
It was apparently drinking those little bottles of baby oil that they give you on airplanes. You're not supposed to do that. And then snorting dried up Drano is not good either, unfortunately.
Yeah, you can only snort the liquid.
I tried to sue. I failed. Apparently there are labels that say you're not supposed to do those things.
All right.
Huh.
Yep. Reading's good.
And they say keep your reach out of children, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's always good to know. Yes. Before we get started, I want to take a quick moment to thank our fantastic sponsors. Because we at AfterBuzz, we do a lot of podcasts, a lot of after shows, so much content. I think Stephen, are we over 100 hours a week at this point?
100 only 100 hours? We do 150 shows a week, 150 hours.
I'm saying
we're
over, yeah.
Yes.
When you say over, it just means anywhere above that.
Yeah.
But we bring that all to you for free. Thanks in part to our wonderful sponsors. And this week, our sponsor of the Better Call Saul after show is DraftKings. If you guys haven't heard about DraftKings, it's a site where you can go and you can play with different sports like a fantasy league. This week we're talking about golf, because golf's first major is right around the corner, and you can play 1 week fantasy golf for free at DraftKings.com. Just pick 6 golfers before tee-off, stay under the salary cap, and rack up more points for streaks, per-hole performance, tournament finishes, and all kinds of other categories. Outscore the competition. You could win big with every tournament. Whether you live, breathe, golf, or you're just ready to try a new fantasy sport, DraftKings has got you covered. With every monster drive and made putt bring you closer to your winnings. And there's more than just golf. There's all kinds of variety of sports. And millions of sports fans have already discovered DraftKings. Now it's your turn. This isn't fantasy as usual. This is DraftKings. And now I can tell you how you can get that free game. If you go to fantasy golf contests when they begin, right before, you have to get there before the tournaments tee off and use the promo code BUZZ. BUZZ, just like AfterBuzz, real simple, easy to remember. Promo code BUZZ, and you can get a free round of DraftKings Golf.
You know what's fun is I get to try these things because I'm a producer here. So they give us the code, of course, and get to try it. And I hate golf. This actually has made golf interesting.
Fantasy golf.
Yeah,
Fantasy
it actually made me actually be like, you better get this putt. It actually gives you a reason to like golf. So you know what? It's fun.
And it's not just the kind of fantasy golf where you've got that little round white ball in the game console and you're like,
Oh God.
You can actually win money at this
Yeah,
one.
you can win money.
Golden
But yeah,
teas.
like I said, DraftKings.com.
Promo code
Buzz. Buzz. This isn't fantasy as usual. This is DraftKings. And now it's time to talk some more Better Call Saul. So Bali Ha'i. First reactions. What did you guys think of this week's episode?
Again, I really like that it was more in depth with Kim. We're learning more about her, and I like that it was revealed that, the reason she's been so loyal to Howard and, HHM is because they paid her way through law school. She was working there in the mailroom, and, so that's why she's a little hesitant to leave and destroy this, relationship, but she may have already done that.
Yeah.
I think the cool thing about this
No.
episode is we're starting to see the plot lines, these subplots that are starting to merge finally. It's like I can feel like we're on the cusp that it's about to happen. You got Mike's plot line with the Salamancas. You've got Jimmy, who's now finally like at this point where he might go back into the underworld and into his hustling ways, and this might bring the two together to where they can team up again.
So, yeah, I for some reason I wasn't like completely sold on the episode. I was like, I could watch it and be like, this is a good episode, but for some reason it just wasn't resonating with me. I think it's just TV this week for some reason isn't resonating with me, because I was the same with Lucifer.
Yeah.
But the more I talked about it, the more I liked it. So I'm hoping like by the end of this after show, I'm going to be like, yeah, this is a really good episode, because a lot does happen. And reading into what Bali Ha'i is, if I can go into it real quick.
We'll get into that for sure. We're going to break down the episode. I haven't given my first reactions
Nobody
yet.
cares about your first reaction, Zach.
No, because I thought this was a great episode. It was slow, so I can understand why you feel that way, especially the parts with Jimmy and Kim were fairly slow moving. There's not a lot of action. I'm not going to say this was a filler episode because there's absolutely some major pieces moving, but there's no big events for them. Like nothing changes. There are stuff that's leading to big changes, absolutely, but nothing in their world shifts this week. Whereas for Mike, there's major shifts and major things going on. And Mike's storyline was awesome and all kinds of driving and really cool action stuff. It was cool. But yeah, so I have a feeling you want to talk about Kim first. If you want to talk about Bali Ha'i.
Well, slightly, but I just want to talk about how the title resonates to what Kim's going through right now.
Yeah.
And what Jimmy's going through. This is straight from Wikipedia. It says, in the musical, Bali Ha'i is a volcanic island within sight of the island on which most of the action takes place. Like, so imagine like soldiers are on an island, and in the distance they can only just see an island but not get to it.
Yeah.
The troops think of Bali Ha'i as an exotic palace, but it's off limits except to officers. The matriarch of Bali Ha'i, Bloody Mary, conducts a lot of business with the troops. She invites a soldier, and
that's where it gets really interesting, because from the song that we hear Jimmy singing to Kim is from South Pacific, the musical, and she's singing it to like lure him to her island. I think she wants him to marry her daughter or one of the other young women, but it's about come to me.
Yeah, so Saul is singing it to Kim as like a, come, join me on, it's kind of like, join us on the dark side, we have cookies. But it's also a representation of, like, grass is always greener. You never really know, so you have the one law firm offering Kim a job, and it's kind of like they're singing their own version of Bali Ha'i to her because she's in the trenches. She's working, and she can just look off in the distance and see like something that could be better, but she doesn't really know for sure. And they're just wooing her with this job opportunity. So you don't actually know if it will be better. I don't know. It was it was a clever name for the episode.
Yeah, it's cool that because it's subtle, but when you actually dig, just like a lot of any song choice that this show makes, there's always a reason for it. It's never just like, well, that's a cool song. Like, no, there's a deeper level to why they chose that, why they chose the part that they're singing, why they chose this episode to sing in it, and like all of that stuff. And I think that in a lot of ways, like Steven, what you're saying is that Jimmy, he is drawing her to the dark side in a way. She is in the virtuous path right now. She's going to try to stay. She's trying to stay with the people who gave her shot, which is a lot. That's loyalty that most people don't have. And I think it parallels very well with Mike, and we'll talk about that later. Brian McGee in the chat is like, yeah, well, this isn't slipping Jimmy. This is slipping Kimmy.
Yeah, I loved that. It's like, yeah, because she was like, hey, she wanted to do that con again.
Yeah, jar, Brian.
Yeah, and the only time they were inaccurate in this episode was how fast Jimmy got to Albuquerque. Because I Googled this because I was like, I'm pretty sure that's at least an hour away, and it is. And 5 o'clock traffic. I mean,
no, he still pulled up, and it looked like it was mid-afternoon. She left for her lunch break, and then he pulled in the evening. It looked like it took him 3 or 4 hours to get there.
Yeah,
like it didn't look close. I think the only other thing that was very, very historically inaccurate is just downplaying how much more Billy Mays is here to tell you about. We didn't wait for more at least 8 times. It was only once. So, that's just downplaying his magnificence of Billy Mays.
R.I.P. Billy Mays.
I guess we're going to talk a lot about Billy Mays today. No. Let's keep talking about Kim as long as we start on her. Because one of the first things we see with her is her listening to Jimmy's voicemail. And I want to ask you guys, what do you think... do you think that she was happy to hear from him, or is she still just like, I don't want to hear from you? Because she listens. She's clearly waiting for his call, right?
Yeah, and I think she was happy to hear from him because just like a lot of people, she's kind of downplaying this because, obviously her job's on the line with their relationship and, his slipping Jimmy pass. But at the same time, I mean, you saw the look on her face. She was so happy that he called and then singing to her on the phone. I mean, it was all there on Kim's face that she enjoyed this. And then that's why she, called him later to have him join her in her slipping Kimmy.
So this, I may be just remembering things wrong, but wasn't he trying to sleep next to her, or it was their separate apartments? It was cutting back and forth.
What do you mean?
When Jimmy left to go sleep in his old place, was he in his new place, or was he in bed with Kim?
He was in his new place.
He was in his new place. Yeah. Okay, so they cut it to make it be like they're each on opposite sides. Okay.
They're both not sleeping. Like they're both in different worlds. Like they especially used the bathroom shot, I think, to remind us of like. He was there, and it was like the cutest thing ever. So ridiculous, but But this is now her by herself. Just she's brushing her teeth, and nothing funny happens. She just brushes her teeth, and that's it.
Wah wah.
Yeah, and Jimmy has trouble sleeping. I think it's almost like the thing that people say like when they come back from like being overseas, like at war. They're just like come back and a bed is too comfortable.
Yeah.
You can't, not to compare like Jimmy's like cushy lawyer job to war, but like that idea. I think of Castaway.
Yeah.
It's like when Tom Hanks comes back and he's been sleeping on dirt for 4 years. He can't sleep in a bed. And this is, I think, Jimmy. He's so used to his crappy sofa bed, something that's made for actual comfort of a real person, is not comfortable.
I mean, if we're getting into Jimmy, I think it was a good metaphor for where he is at in his crossroads. He's been kind of living a life where he just hasn't been satisfied with this new lifestyle, which is a little bit more higher class than what he's used to. And he's just not feeling like he belongs. And now he finally, when he went back to his little crummy old closet, he felt like he was back at home. He felt like that lifestyle suited him more.
He's not putting on airs. He's not trying to be someone he's not.
Exactly.
Which he definitely feels like, I think, whenever he goes to work.
Well, especially with the new characters breathing down his neck.
Yeah. But I think this is the like we were saying, the dark side he's pulling Kim towards. I think this is that lifestyle that like Kim is so in the corporate lifestyle. And that's really what's for her. I think her personality is more suited towards that world. But Jimmy, it's just not. He doesn't work well. He doesn't really work well with others.
Understatement.
But like
Yes.
some people, like he's not at his best when he has to like work with others. He doesn't like checks and balances throw him off as opposed to help him thrive. And everybody works a little bit differently, but that's his character. That's how he works.
Yeah, he, is not one of those inside the box thinkers. I mean, he's a guy that colors outside the lines and the lines of the law, and that doesn't really work in the corporate law world that he's been thrown into. And sort of just, that's Kim's life, and that's why they continue to use that metaphor of that mug not fitting in that car. Because it's like Kim doesn't even fit into his new life in this corporate thing, because it's in Santa Fe. I mean, it's an hour away and all this. So it's not just that, his corporate life, does she fit in there because that's more her, because she really doesn't there either.
Yeah. But let's get back into Kim, because after she leaves the voicemail, and like I think to me she was clearly like, I'm not ready to talk to you because I'm still in the doghouse at work, but I really like him. She really likes Jimmy being in her life, even if it's just
totally.
this crazy thing where he's leaving her singing voicemails every day in the morning. It's weird.
Pretty sure this is just a subtle reference to how every girl wishes their boyfriend would wake them up.
Serenade
Yeah.
them every day.
Serenade them through an answering machine, not in person. It'd
Drunk
be too
on You by
embarrassing in
Luke
person.
Bryan.
All right, I'm gonna start doing that.
You should.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hold you to that, Zach.
There's a list of songs the girls like.
settle in.
Yes.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But yeah, so she goes to work, and Howard. What do you guys think about Howard? Is he still justified for being such a dick?
No.
I don't think so.
It's like, and that's the thing, is like, now that we know that they helped Kim get through law school and all this, I do kind of see it a little bit more, and that maybe he's not interested in her, but it's still like, dude, what's up your butt? I mean, like, she's working so hard. She made one mistake after years, that we see so far. It's just, is this a pattern with her, or, is he just being a dick?
Yeah, I'm wondering if there is something more, but on the surface, it was just her decisions, or her past decision. I'm still wondering whether or not like he is justified to feel this pissed off after only dealing with just this one incident. It just doesn't seem justified.
That's the thing. Is like it's not.
Was he embarrassed enough by Davis and Maine,
Like clearly,
to
they knew that like Howard had no idea, so like it doesn't make
they're
sense
partners in this
that.
case, but it just doesn't seem like he would. If Davis and Maine can forgive Jimmy, why can't Howard forgive Kim?
I think it's jealousy. I think Howard likes Kim.
Yeah, that's what I
Like
thought.
honestly, like I put like. If you really look at what Kim could have done, is she could have thrown Jimmy under the bus. She could have been like, I didn't really know this, and I think Howard wanted her to do that, but because it would have made sense for anyone to do that, and she didn't, which means that she's super loyal to Jimmy, and more so loyal to Jimmy than Howard, which is why he's treating her this way. Unfortunately, why is she, like, if I was in Howard's position, I'm like, why is she going after this guy? Like, why him and not me?
I could totally buy it, but it's not like we're seeing little signals from him showing that he's trying to himself be a little bit more adventurous like Jimmy, like the qualities that Jimmy possesses. He's not trying to mimic them. He's just kind of in this stone cold world where he's just trying to give her the cold shoulder.
If it was true that he liked her, and I still don't think it is, I think he's just like a bitter dick. But
that's...
if it was like, I don't think he's a confident enough person. I don't think he would be trying to become the person that Kim wants. He's pissed off because he's frustrated with like, how could you be into that? How could you be into that kind of person and not into successful, like,
attractive Howard,
what is it? Ham Lindigo blue tie, Howard Hamlin.
There is another option, which is that they're looking at promoting her to partner, and this is a hazing. We get the story with the guys at the lunch, where he talks about how he thought something was a hazing at his law firm when he realized that no, they just left him there to do it himself.
That's an interesting thought. So you think they're testing her loyalty in like a Willy Wonka style, like we introduced this guy who's going to offer you $1 million if you betray us.
I think it's very possible that Kokler, is that how you pronounce it?
That's Schweikert.
Rick Schweikert.
That Schweikert is at least on professional terms with Howard, and could have cooked this up as like a test.
Interesting.
Quite possible.
That's some real conspiracy. That's like some tinfoil.
Yeah, that's like
hat
serious
style.
conspiracy theory, though.
Yeah, but
I like it though. It's
Yeah, it's
interesting.
good.
The first thing, like, he obviously knows about her. He obviously knows, and obviously you can chalk that up to somebody who's looking to hire somebody. I mean, it makes sense that he would ask around, but the fact is he references all the things that would make her a partner at this law firm. You've been there 10 years. They've brought you up. Look, I'm going to list all the reasons why you should stay with them because you should be loyal to them, and then I'm going to offer you a job which would completely betray them.
You're not wrong. I do think it seems more obvious than that it's just like he's listing the things like, you've done all of this for them. You should be, if not partner, pretty close at this point. You shouldn't have been put into doc review as a 10-year, like, as someone who's been on with this company for 10 years. And that's like a sales pitch to me.
Yeah, but Zach, if I'm gonna, if let's say I have a $100 million business, right? And I have 3 partners. Okay, we're 33, 33, 33, and we're gonna bring in somebody and make it 25 each, right? To pitch that to those 3 partners, I would need to know with 100% certainty that no matter what happens, you're keeping our company's best interests in mind. And if Howard Hamlin are going to bring in a new partner to Howard Hamlin, whatever Howard Hamlin Wexler, like, create that, I would want to know that no matter what you had to do, whatever the SHIT jobs you had to do, it wouldn't make you scornful. You'd just bear up, go through it, because that's what you probably have to do as a partner. So if I'm to really look at this, they haven't said anything to her that was like, this is a punishment. They've just assigned her things. To her, it seems a punishment, but honestly, they haven't said anything that says you're being punished right now. They're just assigning her work that has to get done at the firm.
It's true.
Yeah, but they're assigning her work that is often outsourced to people who don't even work at the business because it's so menial.
Yeah, I mean, it's like an intern's job, and I mean,
But
they're more like passive aggressive.
I mean, that's Steven saying. It's like there's a way to test loyalty, and this is an excellent way to test it if you're going to go to those lengths. But you'd have to also assume that Howard and Rick would be close with one another. During a trial that is contentious between the 2 firms. I mean, that is unlikely. But this could, so I don't know if Rick is in on it, but I could definitely see how this could still be a test by fire.
It could be something even different if he's seeing her, if Schweikert is seeing her as a threat in the case. I wonder if this is a like basically a move to get her. Like, he sees like stiff competition, and it's like, I need to. It's like aggressive headhunting. Basically, is like, I can win this case if I take out their star player.
Oh, and also to maybe, I mean, illegally try and get information about the opposing, side's view. I mean, he had already hinted, like, I'm not going to make you do this, but
yeah, I think
who
he was
knows?
just,
I don't know how sleazy he could get down the line if she did accept the partnership.
He doesn't strike me as sleazy.
He doesn't strike, but he also does strike me as somebody who's going to do what's necessary to win. I still don't know if we know him quite well enough to say, all right, this guy's a good guy.
Well, as far as the whether Hamlin is justified, like that thing, there is a good point in the chat. I think it was Brian was saying. I wonder if Howard was also mad because Kim went behind his back to Chuck. Now we know because we were there that Kim didn't ask Chuck to do anything. But if Chuck went from what we saw last week immediately to Howard and said, "You need to get Kim back, give her office back, like get her back working. She just got us a major." He pleads her case. it's reasonable to think Howard would assume that she went like crying to Chuck to be like to get help. She didn't, but it's reasonable to assume that he.
No,
might
it
think
is
that.
reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it's going to shape up to be. I just feel like this is.
There's more than meets the eye.
Yeah,
kind of,
it feels too convenient. It just feels
The job offer?
it just feels too convenient. It's either what's his face? Sorry, the lawyer.
Schweiker.
Schweiker.
Schweiker. It's either Schweiker trying to get an in with HHM, or he's threatened and wants to hire her, and that's genuine. But it just feels a little bit too convenient right now.
Yeah, and Jimmy is telling her to do it. He's
Yeah.
like, so take it. That sounds great. He's like, they're gonna pay off her loans. They're gonna offer her a good job, partner track.
If
Why
things
not?
look too good to be true, they usually are.
Because Jimmy
Exactly.
is like, we find like he doesn't like his job.
Yeah, he hates his life and his Coco Bolo desk. It's like, because he loves the crappy nail salon.
I wish this desk was Coco Bolo.
Oh, no.
That would be awesome. But he like, and of course the woman that runs the nail salon is just like, oh, you don't, boo hoo, you don't like your job. Welcome to the real world. But yeah, and then we saw the quick thing with was it Rebecca?
Yeah, I think that's her name, the intern. No, the second
The
year.
second year, who's like, I would smack that person in the face. Like, she's leaning into him. Like, it's like I went like this. Like hey, what are your notes? What are your notes?
Acceptance of
What are you
me.
doing?
Yeah, but Zach, you gotta view it from her perspective. Like, Zach, you've worked with us for about a year now as an engineer, right? Not as a host, but as an engineer and as an employee.
Yeah.
And then you've learned a little bit of the back end of the website. You've learned how to do all this stuff, right? So let's say we go out there into Hollywood and we find somebody who is so less qualified than you are, and make them senior producer and give them my job, and then say, hey, Zach, show them how to engineer and show them how to do the website work. I mean, you can't help but be kind of a dick to them. I would assume that you'd be kind of a dick to them, as much as I would hope that you wouldn't. I'd kind of assume. So, like, in her position, she's worked so hard to get to where she is, and they promote somebody 2 years in front of her that doesn't even care about the systems and is kind of like a dick and kind of blows off all his work, which is causing more work for her, which now she has to babysit him, because as much as he doesn't like getting a babysit, I'm sure it sucks that much more to be babysitting somebody and having to do most of their work for them.
You're right on all that, but like looking at her, she looks like she's enjoying it so much. Like, and it's not so much that she's like has to like be there and like working with him and all that. It's the way that she does it, where like he reads off the date. She has him read off the date and then leans in like over his shoulder to reread it for herself. So like, why are you?
Oh yeah, she's doing it to mess with him.
Yeah,
I mean,
she
of course she
doesn't
is.
trust anything he says, and apparently the chat roll has corrected us. Her name is Erin. I believe
Erin.
Rebecca was Chuck's wife. But yeah.
Oh, that's right.
It's like, oh my god. We all know someone like her, too, especially when you were in school. That annoying kid, male or female, that was just like always, they had to be the best. They had to be, teacher's pet, all that. And that's who she is to me, is that annoying person that we all know that wants to be the best at everything and hates people like Slip and Jimmy that just
But she'd
skate
be a
through
great
life.
lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
That you got to give Jimmy a little bit of credit too, because he is 2 years above her. He has the power to really kind of tell her, you can't do this anymore. Yes, he's benefiting from her her tendencies, but he still has that power to be able to say, you know what, you got to back off.
He doesn't have that power, though.
Yeah, well, he truly does. No, I mean, if you were in a law firm, and you had a 2-year associate going up against a 4-year associate, you truly would be able to tell that person, you can back off.
Not
Except
if the
Cliff put him in
partner
charge, yeah.
has
Yeah.
basically put her in charge of him as his container.
Basically,
sorry.
Cliff has said, no, she is in charge of you now. Like, he does, like, I don't care about, like, a seniority or whatever.
But when have we heard that? I mean, we know that she is, we assume that she has been put up to this, but we don't know this.
We haven't heard it, but it's implied.
It's
I
been
think
implied,
the show
yeah.
basically is saying like that's what, because like that's what Cliff is doing here. He's like, Jimmy needs supervision.
He's a
He's
babysitter.
taking everything away from. He even took his commercial idea and ran with it on his own.
And
True.
with the
That
worst
terrible,
time
terrible.
ever, yeah. Old people aren't
It
up at
had
that
the
hour.
perfect amount
Yeah.
of bleeding waviness in the
Wavy,
back.
yeah.
But no, you have a great point with that commercial, Lacretia. It's like it's late at night and nobody from those places is going to be watching the TV at
No.
that time.
Yeah, you needed
Nope.
to put it on during NCIS.
First commercial in Matlock.
It's 2002.
NCIS was still on.
Was it?
Yeah, it's been on forever.
It's been on for a while.
Yeah. I think it was when it was first starting. Maybe Jag.
Oh, the first
Yeah.
one. Okay,
Yeah.
I get it. But yeah, no, like this is the thing, is that Jimmy. This is the difference, is that Jimmy isn't good. Like, this is what I was saying before. Like, he's not good in this team environment where he's being delegated these like tasks to handle. That's not where his skill set lies. He is a big picture person. Like, he can see like, hey, we need to get people on board. We can't solicit. They're not responding to mailers. I got it. Like, commercial this time. I know what we need to do. He just knew it. It didn't even have to work at it. Like, he just knew what to do.
He thinks outside the box.
Yeah, and that's why he worked as a solo practitioner, because he controlled all the pieces. And then he needed people working with him, because, like, as a lawyer, you can't do everything yourself. But it's when he gets into, like, he's not going to be able to climb the ranks. Like, he's also just way too impatient for it.
Oh, totally.
The instant he gets any excuse to get out of there, and Kim calling, he's like, I'm out the door.
He just walks out. That's what I love. No bye, no nothing. Every time they just show him just leaving.
And then we get the
con
two of them
scene.
with the con. And let's talk about the con scene real quick, because I want to make sure we have time to talk about Mike and Salamanca. What do you guys think? So Kim, basically, she's like chasing this high now, right? What do you guys think of the whole con?
The emergence of Giselle St. Clair and Victor again.
Yes.
It was
Victor's
nice to it was nice to see her get excited about something, because we've seen her in just a stressed state, and finally she's letting loose a little bit. She's kind of letting the good and endearing parts of Jimmy show in her own personality, and I like that.
Cool.
I don't know. I don't need any more of these dinner cons. It was too similar to the last one.
Well, and I think that was the thing, is this is Kim's version, because that's all she knows. So she's trying to be like Jimmy. So I kind of got why they did it, but yeah, surely it'll be the last one.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Definitely.
I'm glad they didn't. It's not like we watched the whole thing unfold again. They just like introduced it, and then we got out, and then it was more about like Kim afterwards and like her dealing, because she's like, she's not going to cash the check.
Yeah.
She has no intention of actually scamming this person, but she liked that she could do it, that she had that ability.
And they show you that he kind of deserved it by the fact that it shows him kissing his woman goodbye and then immediately buying him a drink.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he did.
yeah.
Like, there's a glass door, man.
Yeah.
You have to think maybe she saw.
And she obviously kept him there for hours. I mean, that's what I was impressed by. It's like, okay, if Jimmy didn't, come as quickly as we thought, it's like, she keeping this guy on the hook for hours. Kim's got some powers
It's
there.
a pretty good Moscow
Yeah.
Mule at that place. I
Yeah.
gotta tell you. They make it in copper.
And that
mugs.
was before hipsters really ruined it.
There was a nice little small Breaking Bad reference in the check was made out to Ice Station Zebra Associates, which is the most ridiculous name ever. But it's Saul Goodman's loan out in Breaking Bad.
What I think is really funny is because they kind of indirectly reference like Tinder or OkCupid by being like, oh, it's like an online dating thing, and it's like or bringing people together online, like
It's a .com where to help people hook up via the internet.
And it's funny because back when this is supposed to have been like, that would have been a revolutionary idea that made millions of dollars, and it is going on now. But it's just kind of funny that they only used it as a throwaway concept.
That's good.
Yeah, it's
that's
because
funny.
it's only going to be $1 billion industry.
It's like
in a
if
few
I went back
years.
to
few years.
1996 and was like joking about creating a new game where you slingshot birds into pig buildings, like, it's nothing big,
yeah.
and then I just never made it, and then like now you see Angry Birds, it's like,
bitch made $1 million on that idea when we all, you know,
million
could have
is
been,
like nothing.
Yeah.
A million is like I
$1
had a
billion.
1%.
So like
Yeah.
the pigs, you're stealing the egg, but why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. There's
why?
no why.
You're
and
right.
now
There's no
that
story.
changed.
Let's scrap it.
Yeah. Or like
There's
candy.
a movie. It's
Yeah.
a feature film now.
The trailer had way more story than I thought it would have.
All right, we're way off topic. Before we talk about Mike, and we are about to, I just want to do a quick shout out to somebody who left us a review on iTunes. We got a 5-star review from Rambert321 who said this show is awesome.
Super happy it exists.
Exactly. Thank you, Rambert.
Texas.
Rambert. And if you guys want to shout out on the show, go on to iTunes, hit us with a 5-star review. We appreciate it.
Can I just say before we move on, because we forgot to mention it with Kim, is that it was a well done scene and well acted scene when she's in the courtroom with the judge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought that played out really well because it shows her chops and it shows what the other team is actually doing and how it is kind of underhanded, but it was well within their right to do. So this is what they're like. This is a show about lawyers, but so often do we not see the lawyers doing anything in an actual court. So it's just kind of cool to go to that scene for a bit, and I think we'll go back there in a future episode. I think we're going to get not a trial, but at least more communication between the lawyers and the judge.
Yeah, and to me, if anyone else watched Franklin and Bash, you know that Rhea Seehorn can rule a courtroom. So yeah, I'd like to see more of that because I miss her being a lawyer on there. So I was glad to see her pop up here.
I do look forward. I hope we get some more courtroom stuff. It is well done in this show, so I think we get more. I do want to address just one thing. Randall E. Webb in the chat says, actually, Jimmy is not a big picture person. His view is actually small. He's not good. Jimmy's not good at long-term picture. Like seeing for a few steps ahead. But I just mean in terms of projects, he's not about the details. He's about like, hey, I can do this project and like I can see how I can do this whole thing. But not like, oh, I gotta file paperwork and like check all the boxes. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about Mike.
Yes.
Oh my God, Mike is such a freaking badass.
He really is.
He's got balls, very huge balls.
Now, I don't know
They're
what
like
word,
watermelons
I'm not
hanging
sure
from
what,
a simple
what
vine.
word he used because it wasn't cojones. It was something else. I don't speak enough Spanish. I only know how to say balls in one way in Spanish.
Cajones.
Yeah.
Co-Jones.
So yeah, I mean, all of this was great. Like just great. Like we got the threats. We got Mike like being all crafty with the paper, and we got the cousins.
Yeah.
For like a hot second.
They have goatees now. That's how you tell them apart. One's got the spirit stripe, and the other one's got the feng shui. I don't know, but
They're a little bit younger. They're going through that changed.
yeah, you know, they're not
6
wearing the
years
same suits. They're wearing different suits, fashionable.
Of course.
Skulls on the boots.
As always.
Still in that
frightening.
phase.
Trying to figure themselves out here.
They're on a mission of self-discovery by pointing their hands at little girls and pulling their thumb
Their
triggers.
fake guns. It's like,
This is them. Their coming of age story is the cousins run in Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
So that whole in this whole thing, they meet girls, they fall in love, they grow a little bit, and they still have that stoic, deadly look on their face the entire time.
Yep.
But yeah, so Mike. I mean, I don't know how much I can say, but Mike just like this is Mike's truly just like his strongest suit. The carbon paper, especially, is just like
A little
Mike
MacGyvering there.
is
It's
super
awesome.
crafty. Steven, I know I rewatched it, and you were watching it for the first time, and it was just like it was cool to see you just like, oh, carbon paper.
No, like as soon as he took the welcome mat out, and then it shows carbon paper. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. He's gonna see who steps on his welcome mat. Great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool because they do it in such a way that it's not like. It's not MacGyver and that Mike just randomly has a chemistry set and he's like playing like you have the 80s theme playing and he's like dabbing like chemicals together, pouring it over the welcome mat. Like, no, it's like go to Staples, buy some carbon paper. Go to Home Depot.
Yeah, and it's
get a welcome mat.
He's still got a cop mentality, though, where he's always careful. He's always, calculating. And you see that when he goes on into his own home, when he's, kind of shuffling through his own place. There's no fear in him. He's ready. He's prepared. He knows what's going to happen. He has the will to, turn on the television and knows exactly where they're going to be. That's the great thing about Mike is he rarely misses any steps. I think this is the first time that we've seen him miss any steps with the Salamanca situation as a whole. But overall, he takes the little details to heart.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing I don't live in Albuquerque because honestly, like, if we in LA had to go buy a welcome mat and carbon paper every time somebody with a stupid haircut was sitting near our house when we got home, like, I'd just spend my entire paycheck on that.
No. Amazon Prime now. You got to get it like immediately in 2 hours because there's another idiot with a stupid haircut.
I think there's a guy with half his head shaved. I think the cartel's after me.
He needs an answer. Respectfully, no. But I mean, because Mike's not afraid for himself. He is afraid for his family, though.
Yes.
Yeah, Mike doesn't give a crap about himself.
You don't point a handgun.
Yeah.
A handgun.
Yeah.
I follow you.
Pun. Yeah. At his granddaughter.
Yeah. That scene with his granddaughter, though, was just like the most adorable thing ever.
Him playing with her with the ball, like you see Mike's sweet side. That's what I like about Mike, is like when he's with his granddaughter, he's a completely different person. He's just sweet grandpa, but then every other scene of Mike is freaking badass.
Somebody in the chat, Jason L, says he was imagining Mike in some Home Alone antics.
This is the Home Alone version.
I
with
feel
Mike.
like Joe Pesci and the other guy would be like murdered within 3 minutes if it was Home Alone with Mike.
Oh yeah, if they broke into his home and they're like trying to like.
Macaulay Culkin can't even survive bees, let alone break-ins by the cartel.
My girl.
Mike would he would go into the other room. He would wait. The craftiness, he checked all the rooms. He's like, that door's closed. They're in there. And to turn on the TV.
Billy Mays.
Like, he easily could have, I guess, just, like, kicked in the door. Like, that's, like, most people's first thought is, like, okay, they're in there. Kick in the door, like, blam, blam, blam. He's craftier than that, though.
You know what? Being pistol whipped in the face to the sweet sounds of Billy Mays here has to be like one of the most embarrassing things to ever happen to anyone.
Billy Mays here. Talk about Slap Chop.
No, that's the Slap Chop guy.
What was he advertising?
OxyClean with Billy Mays here.
All right. You're blowing out the mic.
But wait, there's more. If you use promo code BUZZ on DraftKings.com, you get a week free.
Oh, Billy Mays.
How did we not do the DraftKings live read as Billy Mays?
No.
It's beyond me.
I can't do Billy Mays.
All right, moving on.
At least not convincingly.
He just bitch slapped those two guys in the face.
Yeah.
One's knocked out cold, and the other one he
Yeah.
takes 2 hits to knock him out. Probably because he had a stupid haircut to protect him. But yeah.
What did you guys? It's this helmet. What did you guys think of his reaction when he realized he has to clean off the gun? Because his hands are shaking. Like he when he has to kick their asses, like he's the most confident person in the world.
I think it just shows he doesn't want to. There's still, I guess there is a little bit more fear to him. He just doesn't want to kill if he doesn't have to. And I think he might have been at that point where he thought he could actually kill one of the two of them, if not both. And I think that scares him a little bit. He doesn't want to go down that path. He's had to do it before, and I think it haunts him.
Yeah. I think you're spot on there. Like Mike doesn't at this point. Like he's like he doesn't want to kill people. He also doesn't have to explain everything at that point. Like that's the other thing. It's like if you kill a guy in your house, like it's justified. They broke in. Like that particular crime, no one's going to like dig too far into.
Yeah, especially in Albuquerque, I believe they have the castle doctrine just like in Texas. So there would not be a lot he would have to explain as far as self-defense. But yeah, it's just, if he doesn't do it at his house, you got to clean up the body. I mean, it's
The
a lot
castle
of work.
doctrine being somebody breaks in, you're justified in shooting them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that's what it's called in Texas. I think that New Mexico is similar, so.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, there's a difference between pistol
Penal
whipping
code,
two guys in the face and then killing two members of the cartel.
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of a difference in how they would handle the situation as well.
It would also just open up an investigation that Mike doesn't want.
That he doesn't want,
Because
yeah.
he's involved in some illegal stuff. Because he knows that he just put away a member of the cartel.
And more than anything, he'd probably have to go into protective custody, and he wouldn't be able to see his granddaughter.
Yeah, it'd be all that
daughter-in-law.
jazz. It's just too
So
messy.
let's get to the meeting with Salamanca.
Yes. Oh man, this was intense. Mike negotiating hard to not only like still get paid, but to get paid 10 times the amount.
I want 50 grand.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, it was obviously a great scene, but do you guys enjoy it? Or are there any specifics
I think
you really like?
this is just completely teeing up him working for Gustavo Fring in the future, because as we know, if you watch Breaking Bad, if you haven't watched Breaking Bad, whatever, there's a character who does not have the best relations with the other characters, but they still work together. So anyone who has sufficiently riled up Hector Salamanca is somebody that he would want on his team. So I think it's more of, the more word is spread about Mike standing up to the Salamanca family, the closer we are to Mike working with Gustavo.
Yeah, and that's what I'm so looking forward to. I love Gus, and they've teased it forever. I mean, ever since Better Call Saul was even thought of, they're like, yeah, we're going to bring Gus. We know he was popular. But yeah, this just is clearly laying the path for that. And I did like how Mike split it with Nacho, because I feel like he respects Nacho. It's because, he's not a bad guy. He's just trying to make a living.
I don't think he respects Nacho.
Yeah.
I think that was a complete
Yeah.
play to have eyes and ears on what's going on in there. I mean,
It's
as much as he could not pay Nacho and Nacho wouldn't care, I think it just goes to show that, okay, you have a person who hasn't realized yet that his side of the deal wasn't upheld. Because honestly, it wasn't. He wanted to make Tuco go away for a long time. He's not going away for a long time. Obviously, Nacho hasn't figured that out yet. He hasn't really put two and two together. So Mike giving
You think? I mean, he's in the meetings with Salamanca.
Yeah.
He has to know what they're doing.
He is, but I don't think he's held that against Mike yet.
Oh, absolutely, because it's not Mike's fault. Because Nacho knows, like, if Hector Salamanca comes up and points a gun at you and your family and says you're gonna do this, like Nacho's like, yeah, you're gonna do that.
But what I'm saying is, when you put someone in a tight situation, they like to find somebody to blame. Mm-hmm. He's removing all possibility of that blame.
That's a good point, yeah.
And I think it's smart because he, as much as he has a working relationship with Nacho, this kind of takes it a step further and allows him to probably have a little bit more leeway in the future, as well as Hector's ear if Nacho was to vouch for Mike in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and just Nacho will be on Mike's side. Like, he could have easily done something where he's like, he's getting a quarter of the time. You only get a quarter of the money, and give him back like most of it. Like give him like 20 grand or something.
Yeah.
But no, he gives it all back. Like, the job is the job. The job was not 100% complete, so it's not complete at all. And that's Mike's honor. No half measures.
Yeah, because Mike has a code, and I feel like he feels like Nacho has a code. But yeah, as Stephen was saying, it is sort of to keep him still on the hook and that relationship still stable, because he will need him down the line. Or, he may need more jobs, and that's there. And this way, he's not coming out clean.
Yeah, and you can't have a loose cannon in there who doesn't trust you.
Yeah.
And Mike has somebody now in Nacho that trusts him, and it's good to have somebody on your side like that. Just like he has in Jimmy, and he's probably going to end up needing some sort of representation as he goes forward. When he tells the cops that it was actually his gun, I mean, it's going to bring Jimmy right into the fray there.
Yeah, and I'll leave you just one more quote from Mike from last season, where he's just like, if you make a deal with somebody, you keep your word. He said that to Baseball Card Man.
Yes.
Baseball Pimento. All right, so let's do one quick round of predictions as we get out of here and wrap
Your
things up.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Pink suit!
Oh yeah, pink suit. Yeah, I predict that
Preview.
the end of this episode was kind of a foreshadowing of things to come, where Saul takes the crowbar and just wails out his own thing in the car to put the cup in. I think he's now going to try the forcing method of, all right, Davis and Maine, I am who I am, take me or leave me, and if I get fired doing it, I'm going to get fired doing it. He's going to crowbar himself in as that lawyer and whatever.
Cool. I like it. Lucretia, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I totally agree. Is that this was the beginning of the end for his, Davis and Maine job. He is going to be full on Slippin' Jimmy here, going into Saul Goodman, and I do believe that by the end we will see Gustavo. Gus is coming.
I completely agree with these two. I was thinking, Gus, Jimmy's going to end up representing Mike. And it's gonna get cool by the end of the season, I think.
Yeah, I think showing us that suit is like clearly like, okay, we're getting towards Saul. Like this is another big step. And I think Steven, I think you're on the money there. Like this is him being like, I like this. This is what I want to wear. I like being flashy. It's the way he likes having pizzazz. So he's gonna be needing to bring in that pizzazz. Whatever happens to him, this is him. This is Jimmy at his finest. And with that, I think that's going to do it for the AfterBuzz TV Better Call Saul after show for Bali Ha'i. Let's go around the table. Stephen Lemieux, where can everyone keep up with you?
Find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, STPHN, Check out our movie network, Popcorn Talk, youtube.com/Popcorn Talk Network, and on Twitter at The Popcorn Talk.
And if you can spell it, it's LACRETIALYON. Find me anywhere on the internet with that.
Kevin Ellis at TheKevinEllis or KevinEllis25 on Instagram.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube at that Zach Wilson, THATZACHWILSON. Also here at AfterBuzz on a whole bunch of Ancient Field later tonight. Daredevil coming up soon, guys. I'm Zach Wilson.
Thanks for geeking out with us.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Better call you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.